Betting on sports became legalized in 2018, and today, you really can't separate the two. They go together like macaroni and cheese. But you would never expect some of the best players of all time to actually be cheating. That's what today's video is about. Chauncey Billups, an NBA All-Star 5 times and inducted into the Hall of Fame, has been indicted by the FBI in a trial that includes the Cosa Nostra.
Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches.
This indictment is actually pretty wild because it includes 31 individuals in 2 separate indictments. The indictment targeting Chauncey Billups has an FBI codename of Operation Royal Flush, and the details regarding this case are something out of a spy novel, basically. According to the FBI, Chauncey Billups' role in these illegal poker games was to serve as the face card, the celebrity that you can trust, and he essentially lured high-net individuals into these illegal poker games. Now, the poker games themselves are completely illegal. They're under the table. But on top of that, it's alleged that they were cheating in these poker games in some absolutely wild ways. I think by now it's pretty well known that casinos can cheat. Not saying that they do cheat, but the technology is definitely there. This, of course, is not legitimate casinos. This is underground illegal poker. So what type of ways were they cheating? Get this. X-ray poker tables. They can see through the table to see what type of cards you have. Also, marking the cards with some type of ink, and professional grade shuffling machines that can read what type of cards are in the deck and being served to the different players. Chauncey Billups' face card role essentially gives the game's legitimacy, and it gives it that cool factor. If you've ever seen Molly's Game, essentially people want to play with celebrities, so that was his role in that. Now, that was just one indictment. The second indictment doesn't actually name Chauncey Billups. It's called Operation Nothing But Net. But people think Chauncey Billups is involved because there's a guy named co-conspirator number 8. Now, they don't actually name his name, but they say that he actually played NBA basketball from 1997 to 2014 and then was a coach from the year 2021 and on, which literally matches up to Chauncey Billups' actual career. When I was growing up, I thought it was all about the love of the game. It never really occurred to me that this type of cheating would occur. When I played sports or when I was just watching sports as I got older, I just never really thought that this type of thing happened. I thought it was always the best team wins in any game and any given night. But now that betting on sports is legal, it just makes it that much more tempting and that much more prominent for this type of cheating to occur. So in Operation Nothing But Net, the sports betting side of the indictment, you're basically fixing games and leaking information. The type of information that you leak is which players are injured, and what the starting lineup of the team is going to be. This is basically insider information that's not privy to the public. The gamblers then take this information and make their sports bets with increased odds. The more serious side of this is essentially players throwing games. So players take themselves out of the game and they don't come in, or they just play really horribly, and the bettors profit off of this horrible gameplay that no one else expects, but with this inside information, they can make these bets and know that they're probably going to win. Of course, cheating and throwing games is really nothing new. It's been going on for a long time, but betting on sports is now legal. Before, it wasn't, so underground bookmakers would be the ones taking bets, and that itself is illegal. So now that betting on sports is legal, it just makes it that much more tempting and that much more easy for players and coaches to do it. This is a federal indictment led by the FBI as well as the Department of Justice. So it's not a whimsical case. It's not, oh, I caught you in the act. They've been taking their time to put this case together, many months and even years putting it all together. And they're even charging La Cosa Nostra members, so, you know, they're pretty savvy at what they do. So it's a pretty serious case. And in the case of Chauncey Billups, he's basically facing wire fraud as well as money laundering, which is pretty serious. And many of the members in this case are facing basically the same charges. The charges take a jail sentence possibility of up to 20 years in jail. Gambling has become the lifeblood of sports, and you really can't separate the two. I think maybe even the majority of the money in sports comes from the gambling side now. You're just inundated. If you're watching sports, you're inundated with constant betting commercials. They're just endless. It's like having an ex-girlfriend and having a 2 a.m. wake-up call saying, "You up?" Personally, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg in the FBI's investigation into cheating in sports. I think they're going to have more indictments in this case. Are they going to name co-conspirator number 8? But I think there's going to be more indictments and more investigations into sports and cheating in general. But are they even going to be able to separate the two? Because with the legalization of gambling and sports, I think it's just really hard to separate them. It's just become too easy to cheat. Chauncey Billups has put in a plea of not guilty, but he did make bail. He put up a bond of $5 million with a number of stipulations, such as if he spends $25,000 or more, he has to approve it through the FBI. Of course, no gambling. He's not allowed to gamble. And he's limited to travel in about 5 states. Of course, he is the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, but they put him on administrative leave with no pay. Now, I'm assuming this is going to kill his career because how would it not? I suppose he could, if he wins his case, maybe try to sue the Trailblazers to, make sure that he's still the head coach, but I'm sure that there's a clause in there that if he breaks the law that it can let him go. So I'm assuming that his career is on the downslide and about to be basically over. I always knew that there was cheating in gambling games, casinos, but I never really expected this 007 layer of cheating. It's pretty insane. X-ray poker tables, they can literally see through the table. That's pretty crazy technology. Then you got the card shufflers. They can read the card and transmit them to someone, in the booth in the bird's eye and transmit it to, the players in the games to make the cheating possible. I guess that's not that crazy, but you just always knew that they were cheating in some type of ways. And in casino cases, this, of course, is not a legal casino, but, when the players start to win, they just ban them. So this is just an unprecedented level. For me, I've never really heard of anything like an X-ray poker table. That's just crazy to me. I also don't remember ever seeing a case led by the FBI into sports betting. I guess that's because they just legalized it in 2018. But isn't that crazy too? Like now they have to crack down on cheating in sports. That just seems out of the realm of their jurisdiction and what they typically would do. Now, of course, it is their jurisdiction. And I guess I'm glad that they're doing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just never thought I'd see the day where the FBI is looking into basketball and football games to make sure that everything's going to plan and they're not cheating. That's just wild. The FBI is now involved in the sports world. Anyway, that's about all I have to yap about on this situation. See ya.